Archbishop Fulton Sheen once was flying, and the lady next to him was on the airplane. They started talking, and she wasn't eating anything. And he asked her, he's like, may I ask, are you Christian? Are you fasting? And she said, well, I'm not Christian, but I am fasting. I'm a witch, and I'm fasting for more abortions. And it's like, whoa, and this is Archbishop Fulton Sheen doing the story. There was another priest, someone in Australia, he was telling me, he used to work as a chaplain in a hospital in England, and there were two nurses that are always there in the cafeteria, and he always see them, but they were never eating. And so he said, can I sit with you? And he sat, and he asked them the same thing. Like, I've noticed you're never really eating. Are you Christian? Are you fasting? And they said, no, we're witches, and we're fasting for the destruction of Christian marriage.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, if the enemy is taking the game more seriously than we are, we got to get our stuff together.
Hey guys, how's it going? I saw this video from Jason Everett. I think it's really interesting. I think we need to think about this for a lot of reasons and what's really going on here. Because Jason's point at the end is really important. Like, if the enemy is taking the game more seriously than we are, then we really need to up our game. And I'll tell you something, for a lot of people, the enemy, Lucifer, Satan, good old Captain Redlegs, is taking the game more seriously than we are as Christians, oftentimes. And that's why I want to make this video. Because I want to point out what's going on in this video. Because these stories that Jason Everett is sharing is really important for us to think about. Because at least my first impression, I don't think is exactly what we need to be concerned with in these stories. First of all, we need to remember the people in the stories, the witches that he talks about, they are not the enemy. They are not the enemy. And I don't think Jason Everett means to imply that. Those people are not the enemy. They are not serving God, and they are taking actions for some pretty horrific things, but they're not the enemy. They are serving the enemy. And one thing we really need to understand is that the enemy, good old Captain Redlegs, is just as much their enemy as he is ours. And they might not realize it, they might not understand that the person or the creature that they're trying to help is their enemy, but he hates them just as much as he hates us. And he is planning their destruction just as much as he is planning the destruction of any other human being. It is not in their benefit to serve him. They might think it is. And they might think that there are good things that will come out of what they're doing. But that is not the enemy's goal. Now, I think Jason posted that video when he did because we're entering into Lent. Lent is a time that is, for Christians, characterized by prayer, fasting, and abstinence. Prayer, fasting, and abstinence. And he's pointing out that we really need to take those things seriously because our enemy is taking it seriously. But what I want to dive into is what is different about when we as Christians fast and they as anti-Christians fast. First, let's look at a small picture. Let's look at physical effects. Strictly biological, physical effects of fasting. Because if I decide not to eat food in this regard, am I going to successfully stop some evil across the world by the nature of me not eating food? Absolutely not. No. What I'm going to affect is I will get hungry. But the point is, it doesn't change the world except for that I get hungrier. If we look, there's also social elements. It's a common tactic that people will go on hunger strikes, say, I'm not going to eat until you fix whatever wrong is happening. And what's going on then is that you're creating a social pressure. It's not the fact of you getting hungry that makes a change. It's that somebody else sees, oh, you're taking this seriously. I'm going to change something I'm doing for the sake of your devotion to it or for the sake of your care. It's some kind of social connection that's being made in that level. On the spiritual level, it doesn't do much on its own. It doesn't, except within ourselves. I've talked a lot about how things can become distracting for us. Things that are good can become distracting. And so we can separate ourselves from that so that we can reconnect with the good thing. And that can have some kind of personal spiritual effect that allows our spirit to grow and not be held down by some obsession or distraction. Now, when we as Christians fast, we can give our suffering and our fasting to God for the sake of another person or for the sake of having prayers answered. It's a way that we can pray and connect with God. So if I decide, hey, I'm not going to eat for a day or for a week or however long it is, I'm not just saying, and I hope that that causes good things to happen. I'm saying, no, God, I'm giving you this suffering as a redemptive suffering for mankind. And God takes that suffering and uses it as a redemption for mankind. On the other hand, we look at these witches fasting for more abortions or the destruction of Christian marriage or all these other things. They definitely can have those first two effects. They can get hungry. They can put social pressure on other people. But that spiritual one, who are they offering their suffering to? Well, not to God. They're not offering suffering to God. They're offering it to the enemy, to Captain Redlegs. So what's he going to do with it? Can he do anything with it? I don't think he can. And I don't think it's reasonable to expect him to make a change based on their own suffering. To him, these are terrible humans whom he hates, causing suffering in themselves and saying, here, have my suffering. So he's going to enjoy their suffering. He's at least going to take some kind of pleasure from it. But what motivation to change his behavior does he have? What motivation to change other humans or to fight for there to be more abortions or destruction of Christian marriage? What does he have in that? Well, I mean, those are the things he wants, but he's not going to fight for those things because these women are causing their own suffering for it. He wants these women to suffer, and he gains more suffering from them, from the pawns he already has in his clutches, the ones he hates who are already in his clutches, that he can make suffer more and make them think that they're doing something good from it. It's a clever manipulation. There's not a way in which we can take that human suffering, he can take that human suffering and apply it to a redemption. God and Satan are not a dichotomy. There's God above all things, who creates things as they are and holds them in their nature. And there's Satan, Captain Redlegs, who is one of those creatures that has chosen to walk away from God. And that he can affect the world as much as he wants. He can try and tear down humans as much as he wants, and he wants it. But he doesn't have power over existence like God does. So when we as Christians fast and offer it to God, God can apply that to our very nature. Because we have a broken, fallen nature that needs to be repaired. All Captain Redlegs can do is fight against that healing, fight against that repair in human nature. And he does that by taking advantages where he can get, like letting people suffer in their hunger for no real end. I think it's important for us as Christians to hear stories like this that Mr. Everett shares and understand that there are very broken people out there, and not to understand that there is this dichotomy in the world and it's good versus evil, because that's not our Catholic way of viewing the world. That is not how we understand reality to exist. We understand that there is reality and there is good and there are broken people, and those are not on the same tier. So when we see these videos, I think it's important for us to understand that it's the people who are hurting, and it's the devil who is hurting them. But we shouldn't lament our own failings in others following the devil. We shouldn't lament our own failing to fast better or more fervently because other people are fasting more fervently for nothing. That's what the devil wants us to think about. The devil wants us to think about how we're failing and how he has these proponents in the world fighting for him, when really all that's going on is these people are hurting themselves, and we get distracted by it and begin hurting ourselves. So let's remember, focus on God, give our sufferings to God, who has the power to redeem mankind, has redeemed mankind, and remember to pray for those people whom the devil is hurting. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. It's a bit of a different tone from the rest of my Lenten reflections so far, but if you liked it, please hit the like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. I try to reply to everybody. And if you want to see more of my videos throughout Lent, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified, or I'll show up in your feed. Thank you guys so much. God bless.